Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the elective briefing for the course Financial Analysis and Modeling in Excel, right? So that's the fame for us. And this is a course which is like fairly close to my heart. And if you have heard about the course from your seniors, you probably know that this is one course which is like quite gimmicky. And at the same time, this is one course which is basically making you work on whatever you have learned through your term one till term five, or probably some part of term six as well, right? So this is a pure application oriented course, right? So there is no PPT involved, there is like a lesser amount of theory, and it's more of like hands-on experience on Excel, hands-on experience on like Google Spreadsheet, and also I have added a bit of element of Looker Studio, which is again a dashboarding tool provided from Google as well, right? So this is one course which I think everyone should be basically taking, right? So despite the fact that like whether you are from marketing, finance, HR, operations, right? So whichever domain that you are basically from, you should be looking at it. Though our focus is going to be more from the finance side, but the modeling aspect is going to stay the same for almost all the domains, right? So other domain areas, like so anyone who's not from finance, they should be looking at this course from the modeling aspect. And again, for financial like experts or the finance elective people, right? So they should be basically, or those people who are trying to make a career in finance, they should be looking at it from the financial analysis, plus at the same time the modeling in Excel as well, right? So this is an interesting, and this is something which is very relevant course that you have, no matter what organization that you go for, right? So your life is going to revolve around spreadsheets, right? And when I'm saying spreadsheet, it may not be Excel at all point of time. It may be pages, it may be some open workbooks which are basically provided. Somebody may be using a Google spreadsheet, right? Somebody may be using like Office 365, a web version, but it is going to be a spreadsheet, that is for sure, right? And that is where this like Excel based course is going to provide you something which will be there with you through rest of your professional life, right? So this is a must for any like anyone who's basically into a managerial or administrative role, no matter whether you are from finance or whether you are not from finance. The way I model this particular class is that like we try to model a lot of like real world managerial problems. These are logically modeled, these are like solved, analyzed using Excel. Like these are dynamically modeled, right? So that you can change it according to the need, and it basically creates reusable templates. So and again, like this course also gives you a step towards, let's say that if you want to become a financial modeler as a part of your career choice, right? So again, like many of us might not have even thought of becoming one, but this is something which is going to provide you like a step towards like you become a financial modeler, and it's a wonderfully paying job out there, right? So this is also something which is possible with this particular course, right? Now, how do we deal with it, right? So we'll look at Excel, right? We look at what is modeling all about, right? We look at the Excel functions, few Excel functions which you might have covered in your like basic computing class during your first term or maybe your orientation period, right? Then we will be looking at certain advanced Excel functions that you have. Many of us might not have seen that there is a developer tab on to an Excel. We'll be looking at a developer tab over there, right? We will be looking at like macros over there. A lot of us might not have seen that there is a bit of coding that goes into the background, right? So can we make something which is like more automated for us? What if my job requires me to do a lot of tedious tasks, right? And I don't want to do that on a very regular basis, right? So is there a possibility, or is there a way to basically do something which can do that tedious part or that repetitive part in a fraction of seconds, right? So that is very much possible with the help of recording a macro. I'll show you that like how you can create a 4-page model template with just a click of a button, right? So that's an interesting way of looking at it, right? So that is something that we are going to do. uh, Rest of the financial part, right? So we are definitely going to deal with financial statement analysis. We will cover something that you have done in your security analysis and portfolio management and valuation over there. and investment banking. So we'll cover all those aspects as well. We'll look at regression afresh in finance. A lot of us might have seen that there was something known as regression beta during our financial management class, right? So this is where we will deal with the regression analysis, right? So simple regression and multiple regression is something that we are going to deal with, and its application. What do I make out of these regressions, right? We'll look at like merger and acquisition models. Like if you have taken option and futures as a part of your course, OFS course, then probably you will be looking at like how some of those uh, terms that you have done over there, those computations that you had done over there, that can be very easily modeled and automated using Excel over there, right? So a lot of those probabilities and computations that you did while your option pricing models or Black-Scholes option pricing model, so that can be basically modeled in Excel over there. So that is something that we can look at it over here. Now, this is going to be pure hands-on exercise, right? So we will be looking at some of these whatever you have done till now, right? So in your finance, that is something that we are going to cover in this particular course. That is the plain and simple way of doing it. And half of the course, right, every day, my objective is that we learn something new out of it, right? So you must have come across a lot of like models which are being floated on LinkedIn, that okay, this is something that I have modeled, look at it, how it is. If you share your email ID, I'm going to share it with you, right? So this is something which you can do if you have gone through this particular course, right? So that is the kind of confidence that I have if you deal with this particular course. There are a lot of automation which is possible because of Google Finance and Office 365 features, right? So that is also something that we are going to delve with. And this is going to be a very fascinating exercise for this particular course, right? And something, modeling is going to be a core focus, and definitely financial analysis is the supporting role that we basically have in this course over here. Creation of data validation lists like data tables, right? Creation of pivot tables, creation of spark lines, relevant dynamic graphs, charts, right? All those things can be done using this particular course, or if you have gone through this particular course over there. Okay, we'll create models which are based on certain modeling standards, right? A lot of us may not have come across any modeling standard in past, right? But just like any job, right, or any like product or services that you're basically trying to create, a financial model is also a kind of a product or service that you offer to the end user. It may be an internal end user, it may be an external end user, right? So if I maintain a consistency, right, so that is where we are looking at certain international standards of financial modeling, right? We'll try to come up with our own way of like making and maintaining consistency during the coursework, right? We'll do that, and we'll definitely like benchmark it with respect to how things work in the financial modeling domain in the real life scenarios over there, right? So that is something that we are going to look at. We will try to get a lot of live data in using Excel 365. We can get it a lot of live data which will automatically update using Google Spreadsheet as well. We will look at some of the advanced logical mathematical financial functions, right? So nested if conditions, offset, index match, right? So all these things that we are going to use, and we look up and look up, like I don't consider it as an advanced function. These are some of the basic functions, but again, like fairly important functions to get a lot of modeling work being done over there, right? So a lot of repetitive tasks which I mentioned, right, so that can be automated using Excel macro. We will try to work around macros. We will try to create some sort of macros which can be editable using the Visual Basic editor as well. And then we'll try to figure out that like how we can make it more dynamic, more appealing, and so on, right? So that's how it's going to be. uh, Rest of the financial aspect, right? So for example, a lot of us might have created a two stock portfolio during your like security analysis and portfolio management class. or maybe during your corporate finance class, right? So if you have created a two stock portfolio, that's fairly easy, right? Because like you have a set formula which you can remember. But what if it becomes a bit complicated, right? So what if it is not a two stock portfolio? What if it is a 10 stock portfolio? Or what if it is a 50 stock portfolio? So how do we go about it? Can we create something using Excel which can help us determine what should be my portfolio allocation for a multi-stock portfolio, right? How do I optimize my risk and return? Like, is there a possibility of like maximizing my risk adjusted return? So all those aspects we are basically going to look at in this particular like multi-stock portfolio optimization that we are going to deal in this particular course that we have. Getting your regression beta, right? Getting your option pricing, getting your like some sort of like financial analysis where like if I can come up with like what happens if there is a merger and acquisition that is going to take place, right? Is there a synergy which is going to lead to EPS accretion, or if it is going to lead to dilution over there, right? So is it beneficial for a particular company to go ahead and move forward with merger and acquisition or not, right? So that is something that we are going to look at it. What if I want to buy a company through an LBO, like a special purpose vehicle, which is meant to buy the company through its own resources, right? So how do we go about it? So that is also something that we are going to cover in this particular course over there. Then we'll look at the capital budgeting exercises. Again, you must have seen couple of problems that we had done before in the corporate finance or the financial management course, right? What if we could have automated it to such an extent that it could solve a lot of your problems that you come across, right? So that is also something that we are going to look at in this particular course. And this is something which we are going to highlight again, like this is an addition that I'm trying to make over here. So Google Spreadsheet, a wonderful tool which is also there for collaboration, even if you don't have 365, right? So you still can work using Google Spreadsheet. And then the Looker Studio, right, which is again a dashboarding tool, a good exercise to basically start looking at the data from a very presentable way, and data which can be dynamic, and a lot of data which you don't need to compute, right? So let's say, what if I tell you that you can get beta of any stock just by clicking a particular button, right? Or just by typing a small or maybe just the ticker of that particular stock, right? If you can get that, so won't it be very interesting, right? So why do I have to go to Google Finance, or why do I have to go to Yahoo Finance, Money Control, to get the beta, when I can have it directly? If I put the ticker, I get the beta for that particular stock computed. I can get the beta for different scenarios over there, right? So let's say if I'm looking at something which is more of a dynamic company which changes very often, right? So something in the technology domain, right? So why should I look at a 3-year data or a 5-year monthly data for getting the beta? What if I wanted daily data of, let's say, like last 6 months or maybe 1 year, if we can use that? Or maybe if we use weekly data for last 1 year, and that becomes a way of like getting my beta over there, that may be more relevant. We'll look at these analysis aspects, and we will also look at how we can model this in Excel over there. And that is something we are going to deal in this particular course. A very interesting course, but it is very rigorous. It is very like application oriented. And this is definitely something which is going to be there throughout your life, right? So this is a learning for life that we are trying to bring into this particular course. Okay, so class participation, again, like the kind of exercises that you basically do into the class, right? The kind of questions that you bring in, the kind of innovations that you bring into the class, right? Not all students are at par, right? So few students will be more innovative. And in Excel, the best part is that the same thing can be done in multiple different ways, right? And that is the liberty that you will take. You will bring in certain innovations, and you will be rewarded for the same as well, right? And class participation tries to do that. Assignments will be there. So individual assignments, probably like 6 or 7 assignments will be there. We'll try to make it the best of 5, and that gives you a lot of scope of like getting better marks over there, because it is best of like 5 that you have over there, right? So best 5 out of 7 or 8 assignments that you are going to deal with. Project, so one single project, right, that you are going to have, which will be a group exercise. We may break it into 2 exercises as well. So that is something that we can do. And again, this is going to be a more of a learning experience. So how the thought process behind creating a model that goes, that is something that you will learn in a group. And you will work in a team as if you are working for a corporation and you are trying to get the job done over there. End-term lab is the most fascinating aspect of this particular course, right? Where you get 3 hours, right, to do one single task. And that is going to be an individual item over there. So you won't have access to internet. You will just have access to a blank Excel sheet, and you will be doing it on your own. And that is something that is going to build a lot of confidence on what you have learned, and that is also going to bring in like how practically you are ready with like the what the market demands over there. And this is fairly interesting exercise, right? So end term is definitely one of the like very fascinating aspect of this particular course as well. Okay, so I expect a lot of you to be there into this particular course. And again, like it's those people who are not from finance background, they are also welcome, right? You will be more focused towards the modeling aspect, right? The end term exam definitely takes care of like those students as well, let's say, who are not a part of finance as well, right? Because there is going to be step marking, so you will be definitely taking it from that perspective as well. I do welcome students from an auditing perspective as well, right? So if you're from non-finance background and if you just want to audit the course, that is also fairly possible in this particular course over there. And I know that like a lot of you do have apprehensions what will happen if this course is again at 8 a.m. in the morning, right? So that is something which I'll promise that this time it's not going to be 8 a.m. in the morning, that is for sure, right? So it won't be that hassle. But again, like it's not going to be a very easy cakewalk, right? Because it is a demanding course over there. But at the same time, it is very interesting. And at the end of every session, you feel that, okay, you have achieved something. And that is what this course is all about. That is the feeling that I want you guys to go back after each and every session. We build the models together into the class. Like I'll be hand holding you at all the occasions, right? So that is where this particular course is all about, right? So hope to see you guys a lot in number into the class, right? So subscribe in a fairly decent number. And I don't have any like subscription cap for this particular course for this time, right? And I hope to see a lot of you guys over there. And so if you have any queries, reach out to me over an email or in my office, right? Or on WhatsApp. I'll be able to help you out with any such queries over there. Okay, thank you everyone. Enjoy and see you in the course, right? Thank you everyone. Take care.